Do you want to escape elo hell and start carrying your team? This Doctor Strange guide will help you take your skills and, most importantly, your decision making to the next level. First, I'd like to cover why Doctor Strange is the best tank for solo queue. To start it off, he has an ultimate ability which forces a support ult. In the triple support meta, this is very important. Forcing out as many support ults as possible gives your team the best shot of winning. A hero like Penny Parker or Thor won't force out a support ult unless the other team are really fucked up, like their positioning or if they're just terrible. Strange's shield can counter the majority of DPS and tank ults. Like for example, let's say Hela ults, you can put your shield up and block about all of her shots besides 2. He can get out of a terrible situation or poor positioning by using the shield and his flying ability. His fly can get you out of things, including Groot walls, which your dumbass teammates probably blocked you with. Or like if you're up against a Groot and he walls you in, he full boxes you, fucking Fortnite. You can just left shift out of there, get out of there easily. Strange's damage is really high, and he has much more consistent damage than other tanks. He has one-shot potential with his E, and his burst damage outclasses all the other tanks. And finally, you can peel for your DPS and your supports very easily. Let's say your Punisher ults, you can get your shield up for him just as he's turning the corner, go and block some of that initial damage he gets, and then go back to doing damage. Now that you're in game, here's some key aspects to remember and utilize in your matches. First, priority. When you're in the game, you have a few things that you have to remember. Your first priority on Doctor Strange is to keep the most important people on your team alive and to take out the most important people on the other team. Now, that usually sounds like a DPS's job, like Black Panther or a Bucky, but no, it's actually Doctor Strange's job. So, on Doctor Strange, who do you have to protect and who do you have to kill? First of all, you need to protect anyone that's low HP. That's in your immediate AoE. Let's say your teammates are here. He's getting shot at, but you're frontlining right now. You can keep doing your fight, whatever, but as soon as your teammate gets low, you have to jump in front of him, weave in a couple shields, block as much damage as you can, go back to frontlining, make sure no one else dies. It's always a constant checking up on your teammates, making sure they're not overextending. If they are overextending, just help them out. But the main thing with shielding is you gotta remember when to shield and when not to shield. You're not just gonna be holding your shield up all game, not getting any damage. Like, you have so much utility on Doctor Strange, you shouldn't just be holding your shield up all game. You'll just be the same as every bronze player, silver player out there on Strange. Don't think of his shield as like, oh, I need to protect my entire team. You're not like in the army with the fucking riot shield. No, you're not protecting everyone. Your shield is just going to be used for quick bursts of important blocking damage. An ultimate pop. Let's say a Magneto ult. You fly up, you block it. Hela ults. You fly up, you block it. Let's say Punisher. Punisher's ult fries your shield so quickly that you can't hold it up for long. So what do you do with your shield? Punisher's ulting, let's say it's ulting your teammate. You put it up quick. He maybe hits it for, you maybe have 100 HP left. You never want your shield to break. That's just the first rule. Let's say Punisher's ulting, he's spraying. You hop in front of your lowest teammate, protect them. As soon as they get around the corner, you're also around the corner. You're not dying. If your teammate doesn't back away quick enough, that's his fault, not yours. Important thing to remember with Doctor Strange is you are the most important person on your team. Your healers are important, but so are you. If one of your healers die, that sucks, but guess what? You can take out 2 of their healers at the cost of 1 of yours, if it comes down to it. Now, obviously, you don't want to be trading your fucking supports out. You don't want to be leaving your supports to die. No, no, no. You want to make sure your supports are alive, and then once you know your team's fine, once you get a second to breathe, then it's time to go offense mode. You guys are pushing forward. What do you do on Strange? So let's say there's a tank right in front of you. You're getting shot at by the other team. You're taking some damage. You got your shield up. More like you're popping it in and out, dodging bullets. Instead of just using your shield to block it all, you're moving. You're moving, just weaving it in, weaving it in. Your shield does recharge, obviously, but it's a cooldown period. So that means you can't just be popping it like I'm doing. Sometimes I do this, but usually it's a habit. You kind of have to do it sometimes. If your teammates are really out of position, you have to just tank your shield damage. You just have to lose all the HP. You have to keep them up. As long as you're not in danger, you can just keep your shield up. So you only want to shield at vital moments. Big damage coming out, your teammate's about to die, you're popping the shield. Moon Knight throws his Ankh down, right in between you and your team, you're putting that shield up. You're blocking as much damage until that Ankh's destroyed. You're moving back up. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Someone's looking at you, you can put your shield up, but you're weaving in some damage. You're blocking and you're shooting. You're never just gonna hold your shield up, you're gonna shoot and shield, shoot and shield, shoot and shield. Quick. But you guys probably already know that. So here's where some advanced stuff comes in. So Doctor Strange has a reload cancel. You can cancel it in 2 ways. So first of all, let's say you're shooting. If you look at the bottom left, that's my ammo count going down. So I'm at 2 bullets. Let's say I reload. Now here's the first way to cancel it. Look at the bar in the center of the screen. Once it gets to about 3/4 of the way, you can shield. It'll reload cancel all the way to 8, and you get just a little bit of blocking damage in. That's one I do a lot. That's probably the most common one. Some skins have a sound effect actually that tells you when you can reload cancel. Pretty useful. It's good to get a quick reload off, and you can block some damage in there as well. But here's my favorite one. Let's say you're fighting someone. So you're in the front line right now, you're fighting. You're doing your shield cancel, whatever. But let's say you need to kill this person. Let's say it's you 1v1, and you gotta kill him as quick as possible. What are you doing? You're shooting, let's say I miss a couple shots, whatever. I have to reload. What do? Reload, and I melee. Look at the ammo count in the bottom left. 8 out of 8. You can cancel your reload with a melee as well. Like so. This is how you get some extra damage out. Now here's the best combo. Here's what you have to do. You're fighting someone, you're shooting and you melee. Shoot once, melee. Shoot once, melee. It's the same fire rate as if you're just holding it down. So you ready? Look, you're just holding it down. That's how slow it is. Pretty slow, right? But you can do this. Same fire rate, and you get that extra damage out. So, let's say you're in the battle. You're getting your damage off, and you're ease up. So what do? First of all, you don't hold it as long as I'm holding it, because you get anti-heal on you and you will die. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna shoot melee, shoot melee, shoot melee, shoot melee. Hit 100 E immediately. If you have a stranger in front of you, don't E. You have to get behind that shield. Sometimes you can do it at 90, sometimes you do it at 80, sometimes you fucking even do it at 20. You have to get that burst damage out. Be my guest. Any way to kill the supports. Any way to kill the squishies. So, when do you shoot the tanks? That's a good question. Let's say you have a Doctor Strange in front of you, or a Magneto, or whoever. A Groot, for fuck's sakes. Who doesn't matter. You're only going to shoot that tank when you need your ult charge built, or when they're getting low. Unless they're overextended. If they're overextended, that's a whole different story. You can just fight them as you normally would. But it's primarily to farm your Eye of Agamotto. But most people, they're not going to hit all their shots on the squishies. Right? They're going to be doing this. They're going to hit a couple. They're going to miss, right? They're going to miss. They're going to miss a bit, right? And like, it's not consistent. But if you have a bigger target to hit, you're going to hit all your shots, right? Like, you're going to hit them all. And tanks are predictable. I'm a tank player. I understand how predictable they actually are. They're gonna just stay in front of their team, walk in a straight line usually, not do anything crazy. That's how it goes. So your bread and butter on anyone. If you're in a tank 1v1, squishies, anything, you're gonna do this. Shoot melee, shoot melee, shoot melee, reload, melee, shoot melee. You know, it's just basic. You get 100 E. Look at the damage, by the way. Burst damage is crazy. So once you finally get your Eye of Agamotto, which is the Q bottom right, you have a few things you have to do. And you have to keep a lot of things in mind when you're about to use it. First of all, if you go up for an Eye of Agamotto, your team is left behind. No matter what, your team is by themselves. That gives the other Strange the same opportunity to ult your team. So what do you have to do? First of all, you can get your Eye of Agamotto off against all the other tanks. It's very easy against all the other tanks. Magneto, his bubble is pretty good, so he can bubble the right person right before it happens, and then there's 2 people alive. But against a Strange, which is going to be much more common, you have to either break the shield, or once he starts posturing up, he starts moving forward a little bit, it's time. Here's your most important tech to go left shift. Now here's the thing with your left shift. When you go up like this, you can hover for 5 seconds. Huge. So you can delay her Eye of Agamotto. You can bait it. So most people, what they do is they just left shift, left shift. They just cancel their shift. And it makes you go pretty good distance, and I do that most of the time as well, right? Just like this. Right? You just go forward a little bit, go up and over. Predictable though. And it also, supports can also read that. So what do you do instead? Here's what I've been starting to do. I go up with the left shift. I sit here. The Luna or whoever is going to ult, they're going to see me go up. Let's say I've been doing this left shift cancel the entire game. I've been flying up, flying up, flying up. Last point in the game, what do you think I'm doing? I'm not going to do that same left shift cancel. I'm going to go up. I'm going to sit there. Just for the second, a millisecond there. And that Luna is going to ult early, and you can fly back. You just wasted their support ult. It's all mental at that point. That's the main thing. Forcing support ults in any way possible, and that bait alone has gotten so many people in this elo. Because when you get higher in elo, players get a lot better and they get a lot more predictable. Low elo people might actually be better than high elo people just because of the unpredictability of their playstyles. The Eye of Agamotto is very important. You're going to be wanting to go for supports pretty much only. There's no point trying to get a Strange or Magneto or even a fucking Groot. He can put a wall down pretty easily and block it. So you're going to be wanting to get in the back line. Avoid Cloak and Daggers unless you know they use their Fade. That Fade can take the whole team out of the Eye of Agamotto. You definitely don't want to alter. Couple key things to remember. You can't ult a Punisher in his ult. It will not work. You can't ult a Cloak and Dagger who's ulting. It won't work. Can't ult a Luna. It won't work. Whenever they're all in their ults, it won't work. But one thing to remember is you can one-shot in some of these ults. If you Eye of Agamotto, right? So you get your Eye of Agamotto off, right? You hit him. That thing, that little clone that comes out, is a duplicate. It also takes damage. So let's say you have your full E up. You've Eye of Agamotto, they're in a Luna ult. Guess what? You can actually one-shot them in that Luna ult. So you can use your ult to make another support ult. Let's say it's a Luna. You can ult, make that Luna ult, but you still one-shot through her ult, depending on what your team's doing and if you do your combo properly and whatever, right? But what it does is it opens up your DPS to getting their ults off. See, your ult can be good to get supports and to get some DPS, but you're not going to get a 5-man or 6-man most of the time. It's not going to happen. You're going to get 2, 1, 2, or 3. Most commonly going to be 2, right? But some DPS, like a Magic, can get their whole team easily if they just have that chance. If they get the chance to go in and do their damage, they'll get the 6-man. And that's all you want to do, is you want to give them the chance, but also you also want to give yourself the chance. If you just go in and do the right play every time, or you do what you think's right on killing these supports, you know what? You're gonna get them most of the time. There's gonna be a few times where the cloak might go up and use her dash or fade, and the Luna might ult and get away, and you might not get anything, but you're getting value out. That's the main thing with these tanks, is getting as much value out as possible. Is a group gonna be able to block a Magneto ult or a Hela ult? No, they're not gonna be able to block any of these ults. Is a Magneto gonna be able to? He can't block a Hela ult. He can't fly up for that. His shield is very good, but you cannot do everything Strange can do. The thing with Strange is you can be flexible with him. You can be in a lot of positions with him and get out scot-free. You can literally be playing like an idiot. You left shift backwards. Get out of that fight. Shield up. Protect your team. Very flexible. You can play like an idiot. You can literally play like an idiot and get away with it. As long as you just remember that you have a left shift to get out and you have a shield. 800 HP on that thing. So next up is the teleport. The teleport is actually my least favorite part of Strange's kit. Weird enough. But it's interesting. So you press F, of course, or whatever your keybind is, and here's what you look like. You will look like this to everyone. You can get hooked by Bucky, you can get webbed by Spider-Man, and they can cancel it. And sometimes, if I'm doing it quick, I just go double tap. I go left click, place it. So then that places the one portal, and then of course, see where I'm moving. See, I'm moving and it just says place. Place and cancel. This is your second portal. See your first portal here? Here's your second portal. You can put this wherever you'd like. Right? Shoot it, and boom, here you go. Now, here's the issue with a lot of Strange players and their teleports. They use it for their Eye of Agamotto. What I've found out is it's actually worse doing this than using your left shift properly and finding your battles instead of guessing. Most people are gonna try this portal tech, shoot out like a fucking rocket, and just press Q and hope to kill everyone. Guess what? Those clips you see are in bronze, and if you see Boger doing it, it's because Boger is not trying. That's why. If Boger is trying as hard as possible, he's not doing Strange tech with a portal, trying to get his Eye of Agamotto off. That's not how it works. The teleport pretty much should only be used for a re-engage or a last second clutch play to get back on that point. That's where you're going to find the most value out. I feel like saving it the entire game just for that moment where you can get that last second touch. I mean, there's nothing more valuable than getting that last second touch, letting your team regroup, get that positioning, you know, ult. Like, let's say you're like, you have support ults up, they both die for whatever reason, they get fucking Magneto ulted. You can teleport them in, and that's a whole nother fight right there, and you're winning that fight if you get back in. And a Venom and a Spider-Man can't get back as quick as you can. Or at least your supports can't. A Spider-Man can fly on point all he fucking wants, but there's 6 of them there and him there. If there's 6 of them on point and one Spider-Man, the Spider-Man's fucking dead. But if you can get your supports in the fucking fight, then it's a whole different ball game. The opposing Doctor Strange can counter TPU, which I also don't recommend using counter TP. I mean, maybe if it's very predictable, you know this person, they've been doing it fucking all match and it's overtime, sure, maybe go for it. But it's mostly a delay tactic. I wouldn't even fuck with it. But no. What your TP does is it confuses your teammates, especially in solo queue. And I've played a lot of solo queue. I have yet to do OQ in ranked, and I'm Celestial. When you use your TP, what is it gonna do? It's gonna confuse the fuck of your team. You don't know, not everyone knows what the fuck they're gonna be, and no one's gonna be prepared for that fight. Sure, in high elo they should be. They should know exactly where we're gonna be TPing, what's the play, what should they be doing as DPS or support, but no. Not everyone's smart, not everyone plays enough of the game. So your role as Strange is to put them in the most comfortable position they can. The most comfortable position is actually walking at their team, just straight walking, no flanking, nothing. That actually gives you the best chance to win because they're used to it. They've been doing it for the entire time they've been playing the game. They've been just walking forward into the other team and just shoot him, right? Dive characters might get in better positions from the TP, but you know, they haven't practiced it. That's what I mean. They have not practiced this. They haven't been in their games getting these TPs every time. They're not used to getting these flanks, these deep flanks on the other team. They're not used to it. And most of the time they can't capitalize off of the better positioning. There's just no point. Better to just save the TP for a re-engage if you have to. Alright, so let's pretend this wall here is a Doctor Strange. Or a Magneto, or some sort of shield. Fuck it, even a Sue Storm shield. Whatever. I mean, that's a joke, but, you know, let's just say it's a Strange. Here's what you're gonna do. You see these galactic bots? Whatever the fuck they're called? Pretend those are the supports. So let's say the Strange is posturing up. Let's say this is the line your team's holding. Let's say you're on defense, right? If you go up here, let's say you walk into the Strange, you guys are dueling, right? Shielding, fucking meleeing, getting your damage out. Think about where you are. You could theoretically walk past the Strange and go into their supports and fight them, ult them, E them even, right? So let's say you're fighting the Strange, so pretend this bot's the Strange, right? I'm getting some damage off. I'm getting my E charge up. Right? I'm getting my E charge up. I'm fighting, right? So I get the damage off from the Strange, and then boom, I go behind the Strange, get the E off from the supports. It's not going to happen all the time, but it does happen if the Strange isn't playing properly. Especially in those duels where you guys are close up and you're dueling. He's not going to expect you just to ignore him and go for your supports. And sometimes you can just get in, you put your shield back out and do this little flick. And you're going to get out 800 HP plus 600. I mean, that's a lot of HP. But no. Strange is here. Here's how you can use your ult though. Strange is here. Whatever, you're fighting, dueling, whatever. And then you go left shift Q. Boom. And then you're hitting whoever is back. You're right over him. Quick drop. Boom. That's what most people do. And you know what? It works. That's your basic ult. Let's say you use the Eye of Agamotto, you get kills, whatever. Maybe you don't get any kills. Let's say it doesn't happen. Let's say you ult one support, the other support ults and saves everyone. Okay. What do? You back up and you go back into it. But who do you focus? Do you focus the others? Do you focus the supports? Maybe not. If you haven't been getting lucky with getting your kills on them, you haven't been hitting your combos fully, like just missing some shots, you're not hitting them all. They're playing in a good position, perhaps. Let's say their supports aren't next to their tank. Let's say they're up top in some high ground and they're hard to get, like a Loki. This is when it's time to focus the tank or the DPS, but mostly it's going to be the tank. So the Strange is here. What are you doing? You're farming them. You're getting all charged back up. You're fighting. At the same time, you're going to be giving them support ults. That's the thing. If you guys are just farming the tank, it will give the supports their ults as well on the other team. Which is why you need people to force those ults out. But guess what? The other team's going to be doing the exact same thing. They're going to be fucking spraying the shit out of you. You're going to be playing corners because you got to get the healed back up if you're playing like a frontline warrior. But yeah, you need to get the ult up. The ult is very important. It gives you threat. And it actually is deadly. It is a deadly ult. Okay, so let's say you're in solo queue and your team's playing. Let's say you've got a Black Panther and maybe a Magic. If I had a Black Panther and a Magic on my team, I also would not be playing Strange. I'd probably be on Venom. If this was defense, though, I would be on Strange no matter what. But I would be on Venom if it was attack. Why? Because you're not really shielding anyone. You don't really have anyone to protect besides your supports, and sometimes they have to get out of position so they can heal these dumbass dive heroes. So Strange might not be the best pick here because you can't do those quick shields to help your team out. You can't block all those ults if your team's not with you, right? And yeah, that's just what happens sometimes. But you can still make good use out of yourself. You can be good damage, you can be shielding yourself. Pretty much self-sufficient DPS, if you think about it that way. Think even less about shielding people and more about using that shield as self-protection to just keep fucking walking forward and keep shredding through the other team, right? That's kind of what you have to think of when you're on attack, especially. Sometimes you can't look out for your team. Sometimes you have to look out for yourself and give yourself the best chance to kill. Because you've had those games where there's DPS players that can't kill anything. But guess what? That's also your fault. If you're not out there and you're not getting the most damage out as possible, you're not killing things, you should be able to burst down supports early game very easily. Or at least some DPS players that are playing a little aggressive. You can really kill people easily. It's strange. You just do your timings right, you walk forward when you have to. Like literally, you're fighting a tank, right? You're fighting the tanks, right? You get the E up and you're just like, boom. You go right beside them even, hit the DPS, you hit the healers. You are doing a lot of damage for your team. You are doing a lot for your team. Not just damage, not just shielding, you're getting kills, you're getting final blows, which is the most important stat. So, let's say you're in the lower elos, right? Let's say you're in, bronze, silver, gold, and plat. Let's say you're in those ranks. What are you gonna do on Strange? Here's the first thing you're gonna do. You're gonna go up. You're gonna be fighting their tank. Sure, you might also not be the most mechanically gifted player. That it might suck, but guess what? You have to accept it. You're not in the high ranks for a reason. Is it your teammates? Possibly. Is it you? Maybe. But is it your skill? Maybe not. Maybe it's just the decision making. Maybe it's just the prio. Who are you shooting? So let's say you might not have the best aim, or maybe you do. Either way, you're gonna shoot the tanks. You're gonna get some damage out. You're gonna farm your ult, you're gonna get your E's up, and you're gonna, whenever you see the opportunity, you're gonna walk forward. As much as you don't want to leave your team behind, you're gonna have to do it, especially in the lower elos. You're gonna walk forward, go past the tank, E. Go past the tank, kill the loon. Go past the tank, kill whoever you can get your eyes on. And you're gonna hope to God they can survive. But guess what? They probably won't. But you know what? You're in the back line and you're killing the most important people. They might kill the Punisher team, or they might kill the Bucky team. But you know who you killed? The Luna, or the Mantis. And the supports are much more valuable than some DPS in your team. And you do have another tank. Usually, you might not have another tank, but you have either 3 supports in your team who can all look out for each other, or you have another tank who can just hold the line for you. So in the lower elos, you're going to be looking W into the supports at all costs. Go in, burst people down, get your ults out only on the supports, or fuck it, go for the 5-mans if you got the opportunity, go for them, right? You know, just play smart, go for the right people. Just ignore the, like, shoot the tank only when you need your ult. Like, if you're at 70% and you gotta get that ult, like, sure, shoot the damn tank. But if you have the chance, any chance you get to shoot the supports, you shoot those supports. Anytime you get to shoot a squishy, shoot the squishy. It's just how it should be. When you get to higher elo, you're gonna have to play a little more passive, but you can also play aggressive at the same time. Just make sure your team is alive. When you get in the higher elos, your team does start to get better. Just slowly. Very slowly. Which a lot of people in lower elos, they just get stuck in that habit. Shoot the tank, shoot the tank. He's the biggest guy, he's right in front of us. Shoot him, shoot him. Nope. Don't do it, you're farming the other teams, getting support ults with that. And that's the last thing you want in the triple support meta is 3 supports all have their ult whenever you want. Whenever they're in the fight. Either way, so in solo queue, you have to play a little selfishly. You have to go up. You're not going to be holding your shield up all game. You're going to be doing a little burst of shields, little bursts. You're going to be self-sufficient. That's all you're doing, is being self-sufficient, helping out anyone that really needs help though. But other than that, you're not just going to be blocking damage for full HP or a third HP targets, right? It's not going to happen. You're just going to be doing your thing. You're going to be getting out there. You're going to be getting kills. You're going to be doing damage. You're going to be blocking damage. You're going to be killing things. You're going to be ulting things. Eye of Agamottos. You're going to be doing all that good shit. And then, boom, you're going to win your game. You're going to climb. And that's how you play Strange. Thanks for watching.